when I was talking to this next comic before, he literally gave me 2 words to introduce him. So, our Argyle enthusiast, Jordan Anderson, is up next for your comedy night.
Thought I'd dress up tonight. Got my mustache Argyles on. Which doesn't work for anybody not in the front row. That was a treat. So as Cartman said, my name is Jordan Anderson, and I make a really good 4th impression. I'm not a first impression guy, and I just sort of accepted it. Like, first impression guys, they're the ones in the movies who are like, they bust into their sad sack friend's apartment. They're like, we're gonna have a night that we're gonna remember forever. And I'm the guy who's like, I'm gonna have a night where I go home and watch Netflix. This will be fantastic. But no, like, first impression Jordan is, I'm like an extra on Saved by the Bell. I'm hanging out in the back of the mat. Like, in the front, we got the booth. Zach and Slater have some sort of scheme to get out of class. I'm in the back, maybe one of the nerds, and I'm eating a big ice cream sundae because for a show set in the early 1990s, they use a lot of like 1950s stuff. Hanging out at the, you know, at the ice cream shop, and like Fonzie should come in, hit the jukebox, hey, and then Zack Attack plays, but I digress. That's first impression Jordan. But 4th impression Jordan, you know what? I'm all right. I can be moderately charming. I've been called adequate and not the worst 4 minutes that I've ever spent. I'll take it. But no, that's all because my goal in any sort of interaction, you know, start to feel things out, pick up on patterns, get to know somebody so that then I can make them like me. And it's very important when I don't know, but like my first thought when I thought of coming up here, it's like, maybe I could just give out dollar bills for 5 minutes and just buy everybody over. But because I don't live in Duckburg, I don't have a big vault where I go swimming and spit out coins, it's not really an option for me. So I've just got to sort of just rely on me, which, well, I apologize. So one of the things that my predicament gives me is an aversion to small talk. I'm just not very good at it. And so I live in northern Michigan, and that's insane. Because what is the #1 small talk thing that everybody uses? Did you see that weather out there? Oh boy. Oh, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. Michigan jokes. I should live in Los Angeles because the weather never changes. Like, maybe there's an earthquake. They just had that big one out there. That's worth talking about. Because, you know, you're like, oh, half of my house collapsed. Yeah, I talk about that with my next door neighbor. That's worth saying. It was pretty cold today, like yesterday, huh? I don't want to talk about that. That's not noteworthy. And so I'm just trapped into all of these conversations. You know, you can go to these parties, everybody's like, oh, this polar vortex. I heard this weatherman on the television, he was telling me about, don't get me started on weather people. Weather people are just overachievers at small talk. They're like, yeah, this cold front that was coming in, ooh, I'm pretty cold. It's like, actually, all of that precipitation is coming over the bay, and there's a 30% chance of accumulation. I'm like, there's a 100% chance that I want to kick you in the teeth. But you go to these parties, trying to avoid small talk, and so I'm like, what do I do? I need something. But technology has given me salvation. I don't know what people did in older days. Like, you think about the Old West. Think about, like, an awkward cowboy. He's in the saloon. He's in the corner. Like, there's the player piano guy. There's a lady with, like, a huge boa walking around. Guys doing shots of just, from a bottle that just says XXX. And this guy's in the corner, he's feeling really awkward because this other cowboy that he's just met, all he's talking about is how much tumbleweed was going down Main Street, the dust storms. And you're like, no wonder there were so many duels in the Old West because they're like, yes, I'll have a gunfight to get out of this. But technology has given us our salvation, as I said, because it's given us cellular telephones we can put in our pockets to avoid having to talk to other people. It's fantastic. You could just be like, walking along, oh, what's... and look really intent on like, oh, here's got an important text message. You could try that game, but I like the game called the fake phone call. It's a very simple game to play. What you do is you pick up your telephone and pretend you're talking to somebody like a crazy person does. But you gotta do it right. You gotta really commit to the fake phone call. You can't just, well, hello, my good friend. It's a pleasure talking to you. How are things? No. You gotta really put some finesse into this. You gotta have a conversation in mind, and you gotta see it through. You're like, oh, hey, what's up, man? Oh, really? Oh, that's fantastic. No, I'm really glad. Oh. No, it's my pleasure. Don't worry about it. Hey, good luck. Okay, no. Hey, you did all the work. That's, yeah. I was just being me. So just, all right. Well, yeah, but good luck on Monday. I'm rooting for you. That was me just telling my friend, or my friend telling me, thank you for the recommendation you gave to the person that was asking about whether or not they should hire me. You gotta get very specific with these things. But I have found one problem with the fancy new, in the old days with the flip phones, it was one thing. You could just pull it out, you just talk forever about nonsense. Nobody really falls for it, but we'll get to that. But with the smartphones, the problem is the screen is large. You can see what's going on. So I was outside one day, avoiding talking to people, and there was a girl, she was out there smoking, other people out there, and I was like, oh, well, fake phone call, how we doing? And I'm talking for a while, and then I'm like, why is she looking at me so weird? My prowess at this couldn't possibly be a problem. But then I see myself in the reflection, and I can see the screen is very large, and it's very obvious because it doesn't really go up against my ear, that it's just the home screen. There's clearly no call going on. So I have an important choice to make. I think, well, Jordan, you can either just cut your losses and say, well, I'm crazy. Or you could double down. Guess which one I chose? So I continued talking for another about 7 minutes, and I'm doing all of my classic bits. A friend is thanking me for a recommendation. I'm giving somebody advice on wiring. They're like, my garbage disposal is broke. Like, we're going through the whole gamut. And I'm like, maybe if she leaves first, I'll feel better. Because now it's a pride issue. I'm not going to be defeated by what I thought was my solution to my own neuroses. So finally I get to the point where, that sounds like a real phone call. You can take that. People know you're not nuts. But finally it gets to the point where I'm like running out of crazy scenarios, and I'm just at the point, yeah, okay. And I'm like, all right, finally I just gotta take my legs. So I'm like, all right, well, good talking to you. Take care. And she just walks over to me and said, it's a really good way to save minutes. And just walks away. Thank you, everybody. It was a pleasure. If you see me out there, talk to me a few times, and then we'll be friends.